What we found in your room justified all our fears. How long have you been reading these horrid books?
That old black magic has me.
That's right.
That old black magic that
The door opened, as though being pulled by some unknown force.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is more of an unboxing. It's gonna be a little bit all over the place, so I do apologize for that ahead of time, but it's actually for the Lenormand deck. It's a deck that I only recently came across because I have the app by Labyrinthos, which is actually kind of a handy app actually, because I can just do regular readings when I'm out and about. Ooh, I'm gonna have to talk about maybe just like technology and magic and now, I don't know. Anyway, but it's a really handy app, and they have like these little quizzes like in the learning section, which is actually kind of handy. And I came across the Lenormand learning course, I guess you could say. So far, every single time that I've done it, I've gotten the right maybe 99% of the time. And I think it's mostly because intuitively the Lenormand cards are really literal and they're very easy to understand. There isn't too much esoteric or symbolic depths to each of the cards. The images on the cards are really standard and they're very straightforward. And therefore you're able to just glean immediately what word or phrase is associated with the image on that particular card. So I decided I wanted to try and teach myself as much as I can about the Lenormand method of fortune telling and just sort of see where it takes me. With divination, however, most of the time, especially nowadays, I tend to do readings for myself and for my own spiritual practices and continuous retraining and refreshing of my mind from a theoretical perspective. But I felt really drawn to this particular deck. I couldn't sleep the night that I'd done some of those quizzes. I couldn't really sleep because all I kept thinking was what decks are available and what can I get my hands on. And that basically just launched me into a whole kind of like 2-day sort of like research thing where I was looking for videos and looking up articles and finding things on Pinterest. And then I eventually got around to purchasing a deck for myself, and it will be considered my first ever deck. And obviously I'll be holding on to this deck for as long as possible. I'm very sentimental like that. So I'm going to be teaching myself the Lenormand. As time goes on, I will probably give you guys updates. But nothing too immediate, and so for now I just wanted to go over a little bit that I've kind of found for myself as far as the history of the Lenormand cards are concerned, and then I'll go straight into the unboxing aspect of this particular video. So the deck I ended up getting is called the Easy Lenormand yeah, that's it. Quick answers to everyday questions. This particular edition is by Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin. The only reason why I say edition is because since I actually filmed the unboxing portion, and I actually had a different introduction, which was terrible. Since then, it's been about a week, maybe not a week yet. But I've noticed a lot of the images on this particular deck. I don't know if you can see those. Those are actually kind of readily available on a lot of other decks produced by other people. So these particular images are kind of everywhere. I'd seen a video where a gentleman was discussing the Lenormand deck as a whole, and he was using cards that looked very similar to this. So whether or not he was using this deck or a completely different deck, the imagery was pretty much the same. And then I noticed a lot of other people were doing the same. So I wanted to try and get myself a deck that was going to be very similar in style and shape as well, so that I could, like I said, teach myself before I go off and start looking at any other decks. I also do want to point out that I do have the deck that has the playing card insets in them. And that's mostly because, again, with trying to teach myself and going through like that whole little research thing that I did, a lot of people who were already well versed in Lenormand were saying that you should try and get your hands on a deck that has insets in them at first, because that way you're also learning what each of the suites and stuff also mean which also leads on to the whole notion that if you also do cartomancy like I do, but not very often, the meanings of each of the suites or the suits in cartomancy are slightly different to the meanings in Lenormand. I don't know a great deal, but I will put a card up toward the end in the closing section of this video if you want to know a bit more details about that. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to learning a bit more about this deck. So what I'm going to do now is try and get through a little bit of a back history with you guys. It's going to be a different filter, just on the deck, and then I'll go straight into the unboxing. The Lenormand deck, from what I understand, was named after the fortune teller who was also a celebrity of her time, Marie-Anne Adelaide Lenormand. The game, or the fortune telling system that she ended up creating, was actually based on a German card game known as Das Spiel der Hoffnung. I don't know what it is in English. The Little Something, The Little Sorrow, I think. But it was a card game that was often played during the late 18th century. And if you can think back to like all the times that you were forced to sit and watch like Jane Austen movie or TV adaptations and things, it was during that sort of time, a little bit earlier than that, because that was very early 19th century. But going all the way back to like the, you know, various people in society and the aristocrats and things having parties at their houses and stuff, and there'd always be like a little table, a round table normally, and people would be playing their cards there. That's kind of how I imagine that particular card game being played. So the Lenormand system was developed from that particular German card game, and it was very popular around Europe at the time. Marie-Anne Adelaide Lenormand, or I'll just call her Mademoiselle Lenormand for now, she was that much of a celebrity that she also rubbed shoulders with a lot of aristocrats. She was also a writer in her own name. However, while she wrote a lot of various books on various subjects, from what I understand, I haven't done a massive deep dive, she didn't write down the method of the Lenormand fortune-telling system at all. Other people, I think, ended up writing that stuff down because people who ever encountered her, spent time with her, got to know her, they were the only ones who would write down any kind of information about her. So there isn't a lot of information about her or the system out there, but the information that we do have about the system right now was just based off of other people's writings and understandings of the system and who she was itself. So that was massively important and interesting. But like I said, as I'm learning, I will be getting a bit more information as time goes on. So successful was she in her fortune-telling enterprise and business at the time that she grew her fame and popularity, and people got to know her a lot more when she settled down in Paris. So much so that she was also telling the fortunes of people like Josephine Bonaparte, Napoleon, and so many other famous aristocrats at the time. But when she told Napoleon about some of his campaigns and about his overall plan, she told him that his plan was going to be unsuccessful. By this, he was so annoyed that he ended up imprisoning her in the Bastille. So, girl didn't hold back. I like that kind of attitude. Unlike the tarot, however, tarot being more esoteric and more symbolic and relies heavily on what the reader's understanding of esotericism and symbolism is in order to give a good reading. The Lenormand is very literal, it's very basic, it's to the point. There is a picture on the card, whatever that picture is basically it. So if you see the rider, that usually means there's someone bringing you a message or something's coming or going. It's that simple. There's nothing too deep about the Lenormand cards. However, the idea of reading Lenormand is that you should try and read them, from what I understand anyway, you should try and read them either in pairs or with more than one card, because then it builds up a story or it builds up a much deeper understanding of whatever answer it is that you're looking for. It gives you more of a stabilized sentence, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's kind of handy to know. There are also tons of books out there on the system. There's tons of decks out there that are also readily available. A lot of the designs, like I said, usually based off of one design. You can also get decks that don't have the card playing insets in them and such and so forth. So I'm completely new to the system, I'm going to take my time and look at all the other decks out there. There is one deck in particular that I would like to get my hands on, which I've forgotten the name of, so I'll just put it down here. I would love to get my hand on that particular deck. But between now and then, I think it's just a case of just trying to understand the various spreads, trying to understand the grand tableau in a lot more detail, and also trying to get to know what the schools are, just for general knowledge, because I understand there are different schools which have their own systems mapped out. So there's like the German school, the Belgian school, the French school, and such and so forth. And while they might be similar, there are also massive differences between each of those particular systems. So I just want to be able to try and find what would be comfortable for me right now, and then go with that particular school of understanding as well. So yeah, I think that's everything you kind of need to know so far. Yeah, so let's just move on to the fun part, the unboxing. This is the visual representation, or the visual side, I guess you could say. Just take all this plastic off. Ooh, pop this back. So, before I open it completely, so this is the front of the box. Quick, easy answers to everyday questions. This is the easy Lenormand. You can't call it a tarot card deck. What do you call it? I don't even know. Oh my gosh. This one is by Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin. This is the one that I've seen a lot on online, and by a lot I mean like there's like a couple of channels that seem to do it a lot. So this is the deck that I've seen them using, so I picked up this one because I'm completely new, as I said. This is what the side looks like. It's just more titling and stuff and examples of the cards in there. Oh, it's published by Llewellyn. I don't know if there's anything else on here that indicates who else I might be working with, but no. Again, more titles. And the back of the cards. Unlock the secrets of the future. So you've got like elements of the sort of like playing card insets in each of these, plus the number of each card. If I remember correctly, there are 36 cards, but I don't know if there's any extras, so let's just have a quick read of this. Originally developed in the 19th century and widely used in Europe, the Lenormand deck is quickly becoming a popular form of divination and foretelling around the world. This fantastic kit includes a standard 36-card Lenormand deck, Lenormand deck, a helpful guidebook with individual card meanings, step-by-step instructions for divining the future of your romantic life, career, money, travel, and more, tips for building up the grand tableau spread, techniques for getting practical answers to everyday questions. With fewer complex symbols than traditional tarot cards, the Lenormand is the easy way to see into your future. From what I understand as well with the Lenormand deck, one thing that I did forget to sort of mention in the intro there was the fact that, oh my god, I can't get this out, oh my gosh, was the fact that these cards apparently are a lot more straightforward than tarot. Tarot kind of gives you the options to weigh up, and it's an if and a but it's also direct answers, whereas this is just kind of like yes, no, stop, or yes, no, proceed. You know, it's kind of like straight to the point from what I understand, and the only way to build up an answer, oh my god, that was difficult, is to read with more than one card. You can't just read with just one card like you do with a tarot card. You need like more than one of these Lenormand cards. Lenormand, I don't know. Anyway, this is upside down. So this is the handbook, sorry. I'm also looking at the book as well as on the camera. And that's the back. So it gives you a bit of a blurb as to what's going to be inside here. And obviously the grand tableau spread. So I'll show you a spread toward the end of the video. The book itself is black and white, which is actually kind of nice. So it's kind of standard and straightforward. You've got spreads and things in here. So up the front, you've got pages that describe each of the cards. So the idea is that as you read each card, you literally just need the one symbol. So for this one, for example, you've got the child here. So you know immediately, number card 13, if you get that in a spread, the child, and what does the child mean? There are certain keywords that are attached to each of these cards, so it's a case of just kind of memorizing those. The whip, the scythe, and such and so forth. So that's pretty standard and straightforward stuff there. And a nice little introduction too. I did see more on the spreads. Oh, order of reading. Blended, merged, linear left to right, affected by the following right to left. So that's what I mean. Like, you don't read just the one card. You need them either side by side, or you have 3 cards, or you have 6 cards, or so forth. As you go on, you need more than one card in order to read them. And then, oh, that looks kind of cool. There's a nice little exercise in here, which I'll probably then put into my tarot journal. And then this is all 36 cards. But this is also an example of a grand tableau, which is the idea that you pull out all 36 cards and you read them all in linear fashion as you pull them. So if you've shuffled and then you're going to read them, you pull them all out, pull out a big grand tableau, and it tells you the entire story of the question that you are looking for answers for. So that's really cool. And that's just a blank one, which is kind of handy too. I might do something similar in my tarot journal so I can consistently sort of remind myself. I don't know, maybe I could try this with tarot as well. I'm sure it could be adaptable. That's the most common grand tableau that I've seen, where it's the row of 4. And then you have like the extra 4 cards at the bottom here. So 8 by 4 by 4, which is kind of cool. So from what I'm understanding, there's different ways to read the grand tableau. So I'll be very keen to try that out and see what happens and see what I manage to garner and whatnot from my practice. And these are the rider in the context of the work. Okay. So if I pull the rider card, for example, alongside any other cards, it gives you examples of what those are. So that's actually pretty good. Sorry, my battery just died. I don't know where I ended it, but I was just mentioning how it's giving you examples of any pairs and combinations that you might have. So that's really handy. And then it goes into more information about the grand tableau. I'm sure I should have just looked at the contents page, but I'm too excited. I just want to open it and play with them now. So more information on that and how to record them. 3 card readings, you name it. That's actually pretty cool. This is actually really, really cool and very insightful. So I'm going to spend some time today just reading through this while I leave the cards to charge and do their thing. Another example of a grand tableau or a grand tableau. I think this is the idea to sort of have everything within a frame. I think that's the idea there. So I'm going to read more about this. I will share more information as I go along, as I actually start learning a bit more and practicing a little bit more, because this is something that I'm very keen to learn. But from what I understand, there is a lot of information on the idea of linear reading, which is very similar to tarot in that sense. In conclusion. And more books. Okay, cool. Ooh, the cards. So that's actually pretty cool. So there's 36 cards here. They are the shape and size of your general typical playing cards, which is actually really nice. So let me just open this up once I figure it out. Okay, got there in the end. That's what there's a lot of them. So that's what the back looks like. It's really gorgeous. And since there are only a few cards in here, it means I can speed through these pretty quickly. So you've got number 1. I'm going to just sort of like shout out the words. These aren't going to be correct at all. I'll put the correct words like on screen or down in the description box for each of the card numbers. But I'm just going to just kind of go off my own intuition here. So this is card number 1, which I'm assuming is the rider. Card number 2. Oh my God, I don't even know what that is. The flowers? because it's very simple words, right? It's very simple words. So the ship, very simple words. And you're supposed to be able to convey a whole message from just that one. The house. So the idea of like a safe space, a safe place, security or sanctuary. It's the King of Hearts there. The tree. What does the tree represent? And such and so forth. Mountain. Oh no, maybe it's, I don't know if it's not the mountain or maybe it's the clouds. If it's the clouds, it's the idea of having obstacles in your way. Something is clouding your judgment, as it were. So I'm going to double check that. I'll put everything in the bottom, like I said. Got the snake. What does the snake mean? It's the idea of deception, maybe a warning. Oh, what's this? I have no idea. The box? A shrouded box? A secret box? I don't know. I'll find out. The bouquet, I think. I haven't seen all of these cards. I've only known like of a few of the cards in this whole deck. Is that the scythe? Maybe. Potentially. The whip and broom? Maybe. I'm very curious. The birds. So what do the birds mean? I don't know. Is this the child? A new variation of the child? The fox. What does the fox mean? Cunning, intellect, trickery. The bear. They are so cute. I love it. The stars. What do the stars mean? Hope. Something on the horizon coming your way. The stork. The dog. The tower. The fountain. Potentially. The mountain or the cliff edge. I'm not sure. Ooh, I have no idea what this is. A weird beach? I don't know. Number 22. I'll find out. I'll put it down below. The mice or the rats? The heart? The ring? The book? The letter? The masculine or the man? Because what I've also found out is that, not in all decks, there's one deck in particular I do want to get, where if you don't want the man, you can have the woman. So you can alternate and swap between the two, or you can combine both of them and make it a 37 card deck instead. So the gentleman or the man. Oh no, and the woman. And then the other, yeah, that's what I meant. The other deck, sorry, that had the man and the woman also, I think, had the non-binary person as well. So if you don't want either or, you can just use the non-binary, or you can use one aspect and the other, or all three. I don't even know what this is. I don't know, the lily? I'm still learning, guys, I'm still learning. The sun? Or sunrise, maybe, or sunset? The moon? Moonrise or moonset. The key, this is one I've heard about before. Unlocking. Fish. The anchor, I've also heard of this one. And the cross. Again, with another deck, I think the cross has also been taken out and has been swapped for something else. So you can switch between the two, but the idea of the cross is the whole notion of oppression. And being forced to do something and not having control and stuff like that. So that's what the cross is actually originally there for. So yeah, I'm going to go through these on my own, like I said, and read the book first, and just take my time with them. But new project, guys, new project. But yeah, that's the cards. I think that's all you get in the box. So yeah, just the cards and the book. That's all you need, really. Thank you all for watching all of that so far. So hopefully that video was a little bit informative, but as I said at the beginning, I'm very new to this whole practice, this new system. So I'm going to be taking my time and really enjoying myself as far as trying to teach myself as much about it as possible, and also continue to look at other people's videos and check out articles and things as time goes on. I will be recording a lot of the information in my main tarot card journal, as well as my on-the-go tarot journal, the Midori Traveler's Notebook that you guys saw recently. I'll be doing a lot more recording in those for the Lenormand as well, because like I said, the card meanings are pretty literal. So if you see, like, the most common example is that if you see the clover, what do clovers mean? It means luck. That's kind of it. So it's kind of straightforward in that sense. And I really like that straightforward aspect. And I also did come across how a lot of people do combine their Lenormand readings with their tarot card readings. So I would like to try that at some point in the future, but between now and then, I think I'm just going to focus on just trying to understand the spreads for the 3-card spread, the 5-card spread, the 3x3 9-card spread, and as well as trying to understand the various ways of reading the Grand Tableau with the 4 cards or without the extra 4 cards. There's loads of different ways to do it, so I'm gonna go off and like teach myself all of that. But here is a little bit of information about the clubs that you guys can check out. And with that all being said, that's it for the whole video. So thank you very much for watching. If you guys are also learning the Lenormand, or if you already know about the Lenormand deck, what decks do you guys have? What do you use? Just let me know, because the more the merrier. The more information for me, the better. So I just thought I would share that with you guys today. So yeah, have a good day. Continue to mask up, continue to social distance where you can, and I will see you all again in about a week. Bye. Hujab.